Infinity Games Podcast.
Da 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 da. You got it.
Yay.
Welcome to the 4th episode of the Infinity Games Podcast. I'm Jukeboxhero.
I'm KelryxsKing.
And to start off our episode today, we're talking about hidden gems.
Yes, new segment.
Yes.
Much hype. Such wow.
Yeah. So
Much
hidden
dope.
gems. Hidden Gems is our new segment where we're going to tell you about a game that we've played that most people probably haven't heard of or don't know about that's just ridiculously fucking fun.
Yeah, something just that's even because I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people commented or tweeted at us or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, I played this game lots. All my friends love it." I'd be like, "That's freaking great. That means more people that love this awesome game." It's just stuff that we feel may be a little more under the radar.
Yeah. So the game that I'm going to talk about is Rainbow Islands, and I took
Tell
a
me
video.
all about it.
Well, hold on a sec. I gotta tell you something. I took a video games course in university, and in the forums, because we had to do mandatory forum posts, I actually found someone else who played Rainbow Islands, and it was like the first time I ever met anyone who actually knew about this game, like it existed.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. So the full title is Rainbow Islands: The Story of Bubble Bobble 2, which even people who know it's Rainbow Islands don't know the full fucking title. And it's just weird because in Bubble Bobble they're dragons. In Rainbow Islands they take on their human form as Bub and Bob.
I thought they were Care Bears, to be completely honest. I mean, rainbows coming out of them. I mean,
if you squint really hard they kind of start look like a bear.
you squint both eyes, turn your head to the left at 90 degrees, close your left eye, turn your head to the right at 90 degrees, close your right eye. Then it looks like a Care Bear.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anywho.
Tell me all about it.
Okay, so Rainbow Islands was created by Taito because they also created Bubble Bobble, and it was released to arcades in 1987. It was a conversion kit, so it didn't get its own arcade cabinet, but you would get the board, you would get a marquee, and maybe a sticker for the side of your cabinet, and you'd just plug it in and play. So it wasn't ported to home consoles until a little while later, and the version we're going to talk about is from the NES in 1991, which in my opinion is about the best version you can get. The Sega Master System and some of the home console home computer versions have better graphics and more sound channels and stuff, but in all honesty, I think the NES one, it sounds the best because those extra channels kind of muddies up the sound to me.
Mm-hmm. The NES has really, really clear music, and it's a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's very upbeat. And the graphics themselves are very simple. They're very cutesy, kind of Toyland type things sometimes. So the gameplay of it all, as Bub, you shoot rainbows. As the rainbow is arcing out of you, if it hits an enemy, they will explode into an item which you can grab for points. Or you can trap an enemy under the arc of a rainbow. Or you can just put a rainbow over top of an enemy, and when you jump on the rainbow will fall on them and they'll explode into their point-giving item. There are some items that'll make you invincible or give you a force field or destroy all the enemies on the screen. But the thing you want most is when they explode is to get a diamond, because you have a little indicator in the bottom left that spells out rainbow as you get these diamonds. And if you have the full word spelled out at the end of the world after you've beaten the boss, you will get a very large diamond, and there's 8 of those. You need all of them to get the good ending at the end of the game. And if you get the diamond at the end of the level, you can talk to Bob, or you can open chests, which give you more items or upgrades.
What does talking to Bob do?
I've never talked to Bob.
Fuck Bob.
I mean, I kind of assume he'd give you a hint or something, but in all honesty, especially playing this as a kid, I just wanted to get the power-ups and stuff.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. In a game as, I mean, not necessarily simple or easy, but with a game as basic as Rainbow Islands, like, I can't imagine what possible hint he could give you, right?
Yeah, I mean, think of like Zelda. Like, the hints they give you are pretty fucking useless, but they still give them, right?
Well, yeah.
It's like, oh, this guy's shooting a rock, use your shield.
Like, holy fuck, no shit.
Yeah. But I love this game. It's ridiculously hard. Like, as a kid, I got up to about World 4 after playing it nonstop for a long ass time. And even today we were playing it and we didn't get past the second world.
No, we did.
Oh, right, we got to the third world.
I beat that damn helicopter. But yeah, we got to the third world and then proceeded to get our butts kicked.
Yeah, if you die, you can continue from the start of the world you're in. So at least that's nice. I know there's also cheats where you can choose which world you start at.
Mm-hmm.
I did that once, went to the weird like Asian world, and I got my shit wrecked.
Yeah.
So, just a little piece of trivia, because I love the music so much from the NES version, I might actually just play it underneath of us talking for a little bit.
Yay.
But the arcade version had a bit of a resemblance to the song Over the Rainbow, which kind of makes sense given that it's all about rainbows and stuff. They maybe took some inspiration. But the Japanese Mega Drive and Famicom and one of the home computers were the only versions to get the original music. Everything else has different music. So on the NES is the version that I'm familiar with. It's a lot more upbeat. It's all very staccato. But on like the Game Boy version, they actually just use the music from the original Bubble Bobble game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fun little factoid real quick about the Over the Rainbow song. The original songwriter and singer of it was this really big Hawaiian guy, right? And the producer told a story about how the song came to be, and apparently he received a call from the singer-songwriter. I can never remember his name, but at about 1:30 in the morning saying, I have an idea, can I come and record? And the guy was like, I don't know, it's kind of late, but he had a gut feeling, and he let him come in, and in one take, without any mistakes, they recorded Over the Rainbow, and you've seen where the song has gone to this day, so
Jesus.
I always think it's a super fun little factoid. I always have in the back of my head. I always remember that story because it's so random and fun, right?
It's pretty crazy. And then
yeah,
Judy Garland made it famous in Wizard of Oz.
Yep. So anyways, but I just wanted to shout that out real quick. I love that story. But the hidden gem I want to right? But the hidden gem I want to talk about is a game called Grandia III. It was and you might be thinking, "Oh, it's Grandia 3. That means there were 2 before it." And yes, there were, but that's not the point. It's part of a series, but it's still, in my opinion, a hidden gem. It was made by Square Enix, but it was developed by Game Arts. So it's from the same studio, did Final Fantasy and all that other stuff. Came out in 2006. It came out in 2005 in Japan, but it came out 2006 in America. About 6 months after the Japanese release on they both came out on PS2. They were later ported to the PlayStation 3 through the PlayStation Store. I'm still hoping that one day they'll put them on the PS4 because I'd love to play through them again. And my PS2's seen better days, so
could always come over, play it here.
I could, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But it is an RPG. It is a role-playing game, and the way the game goes is it's pretty standard. You start out and your character has like one main goal, which for the main character is he wants to fly. He loves planes. He wants to fly. So that becomes his driving force throughout the game. He's just It gets a little more hardcore later on, but it's an RPG. I can't dive into that too much. We'll be here all day. But so the way the game plays out is it's turn-based combat, and when you go into a fight, you have a gauge at the top, right? You have a circular gauge that all the enemies and all of your playable characters are on. And it's kind of similar to the ATB gauge in Final Fantasy, is once it fills up, you get to make your turn. But the one in Grandia 3 works a little differently, and the reason that's so interesting is because 2/3 or 3/4 of the circular gauge is one section, and then the last quarter of it is the wait time to actually perform your attacks. So every character has combo attacks, criticals, some of them can have magic, etc. And the main fun part for me is when your character reaches the first part of that gauge, you can choose to do a combo or a critical, cast a magic, throw an item, whatever. But so let's say I have my main character and I want to do one of his special moves, then I'll select that, and then he'll move into the second part of the gauge, and that's his wait timer. And if, for example, I'm waiting and I'm halfway, and an enemy's turn comes along and he wants to critical attack me, if he hits me with that critical attack before my attack finishes loading, it'll knock me out of my attack and shoot me all the way back to the beginning of the gauge. And then I have to start all over. So the reason that's a lot of fun is you can do it to the enemies too. So it's really important in boss fights and stuff. And of course, the stronger your attack is, the more time it takes. So if you want to drop some like fucking A rank magic or something, like you got to make sure that you're going to be able to cast that long before the enemies are going to have their turns, right? So
I really like that because it's just like an extra dimension to like the combat you would have got out of like Final Fantasy VII.
And it's just
sounds
super
a bit more fun in general.
Yeah, it's super satisfying too, because I mean, it's like if you're fighting a boss fight or whatever, and you're like, I've played the game, and it's like I've been a little under leveled, and I'm getting beat up pretty good, and then I'd just get lucky, and I'd fall into a really good rhythm where it's like I could attack, and then by the time he was attacking, I'd be ready to crit him out of his attack and all that other stuff, right? And there's also like every character has special moves that you can level up independently as you gain levels and skill points and stuff like that. And it's a really fun system. It takes a little bit of getting used to, I'll admit, and you also have to learn. I like going in guns blazing and stuff, so the whole patience, like you got to be a little patient with the system. So I'm just like, God damn it! But
hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm sitting there like tapping my fucking feet, right? But yeah, it's a really solid game. I definitely recommend it for anybody. Depending where you are, where you live, what kind of game stores you frequent, if you manage to find one. Honestly, if it's $20 or under, I definitely say grab it, drop the cash and just grab it. Because I mean, where we are in the game stores we frequent, I don't usually see it for less than $50.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it's a little pricey for sure, but if you find it cheap, definitely pick it up, play it, have a great time, because it's a lot of fun. The characters' voice acting is really great. The story is honestly very compelling. And just a fun little piece of trivia here: the main character in Grandia 3, his name's Yuki. He's actually voiced by the same person that voices Ichigo Kurosaki from the Bleach anime. Which,
I'm pretty sure we like walked into a room during an expo and he was like there doing improv.
Damn it.
We were waiting for like an MLP what would you call that? Panel? Yeah.
I was gonna say, I can't remember, I'd have to Google it, but I believe the guy that voices like Ichigo, and he's like a very, very huge anime voice actor in America. He was actually one of the original Power Rangers.
Cool.
He was the second Black Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and he voices like everybody under the sun these days. He did like Dot Hack. I'm pretty sure he voices Ichigo in Bleach. So it's super cool. But what I like is the way I found that out is I didn't look it up or anything. I was just playing through Grandia 3 for the first time, and I loved the Bleach anime. I just started watching it a little while ago. And one of the main character, one of Yuki's attacks, his special attacks, is called Whirlwind, where he just like spins in a big circle with his sword. And he said Whirlwind with like that growling tone or whatever. I was like, that sounds so familiar. right? And then I listened to it a couple more times, and I was like, that's fucking Ichigo. That's totally Ichigo. Because it sounds the exact same when he says whirlwind as it does when Ichigo says Getsuga Tensho in the Bleach anime. They sound the exact same. Yeah.
Has to be.
So sure enough, like a year later or whatever, I was playing through the game again, and I remembered, and I was like, I gotta make sure, and I looked it up, and sure as shit, it's the same voice actor.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's nifty. I like the way I realized that. Just like those sounds similar.
That happens like all the time now with anime because you got the same voice actors for like everything, especially in Japan.
Yeah, no kidding. Japan's harder to notice though. There are a few that I definitely notice here and there, but I mean,
they got the one girl who voices like all the main girls in like every anime.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But
so Grandia 3?
Yeah. It's
Grandia
wonderful.
3. I've never played it, but I want to.
You definitely should. Or if anything, I can come over one day and we'll give her a go. Because it's a lot of fun.
You know, I once found Grandia, like the first one, I think on PS1. Nice. Original Japanese for $10.
Oh, you should have picked it up.
I didn't have the cash. Well, that was at our One Gaming store, and I was like, I could get this, or I could get something I can actually play.
Fair point. I have I have Grandia 2 as well, but I haven't played it at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, shall we move into the mechanics workshop?
We shall.
Yay!
Mechanics workshop time.
Tell us what we're talking about.
Do I know what we're talking about?
New Game Plus.
Yeah, that. I said it first. You all heard it.
Yeah. Han shot first, too.
Whoa. But, yeah, so we're going to talk about New Game Pluses, which they're very, very common in RPG specifically.
Definitely.
The main basis for a New Game Plus is essentially you beat the game one time, and then you're able to go back through the game with certain benefits or boons, whether it's, your levels carry over, or your items carry over, or maybe your magic skills carry over, or whatever. It could be a combination or all of them. It definitely varies between games. So Jukebox and I have picked a few games where New Game Pluses have definitely been a staple of the series. So I'll go first because there are two games I want to talk about. I think Jukebox only has the one. So the first game I want to talk about is the Ratchet and Clank series. And they're a lot of fun. They're third-person shooter, 3D platform crossover games. They're a ton of fun. And how the New Game Plus works specifically is I'll beat the game, and when you start New Game Plus, you have all your armor, all your weapons, all your health boosts. I don't believe it carries over your bolts, which is the currency in the game. I could be wrong, though. And in most of them, it may not have happened in the very first Ratchet and Clank game. They may not have had it solidified really at that point, but from the second one onwards for sure, the weapons have been able to upgrade in levels. So you'll have like your starting plasma blaster or whatever at the beginning of the game, and as you kill enemies it'll upgrade to level 2, level 3, level 4, and then when it hits level 5 it will actually morph into a different weapon.
Weird.
It's super cool though. It's kind of like, it's the easiest way to think about it is it's similar to like Pokemon evolution. It's still the same base. It's still the same basis, but like the weapon functions the same for the most part. It's just like a wider area of effect. It looks different, more damage, of course. So like for example, you'll have your plasma cannon level 1, your level 2, level 3, level 4, and then when you hit level 5, it'll turn into like the plasma. It'll turn into like a plasma shotgun or something like that, right?
Got it.
And so it'll get bigger, it'll look really badass. So as you proceed through the game normally in your first playthrough, of course, you're going to upgrade some of your weapons. Most of them are going to be at level 5. You might have a couple that lag behind because you didn't use them as much. And then when you get into New Game Pluses, you have the option to upgrade them a second time by purchasing them a second time from the store. and they're incredibly expensive most of the time. They cost millions and millions of bolts, which normally you'd have a very hard time collecting. It'd be like one hell of a grind. So I'll talk about how you get them better in a second here, but so once you can afford them and you buy them, then they'll turn into a level 6 weapon. And then you're able to upgrade them. Most of the time you're able to upgrade them from 6 to 10. And again, they'll just get stronger and stronger. Unfortunately, when you hit level 10, they don't morph and change again, but it is good.
It's got to stop at some point.
It does, right? So, and the main reason behind that is when you start a New Game Plus in Ratchet & Clank, the enemies are a lot stronger, they hurt more, and they have a lot more health. So, of course, if you just try to get through the entire game on just your base weapons that you got through the game originally on, you're going to have a hell of a time. So, if we talk about how you're able to afford the new weapons, what happens in Ratchet & Clank is when you get into a New Game Plus, you get something called a bolt multiplier, which is essentially the more enemies you kill without taking damage, the more bolts you'll get. So it's like you kill a couple enemies, it'll go up to ×2, so you'll get double. And then you'll kill some more enemies, it'll go up to ×3, so you'll get triple. And it usually stacks up to a maximum of ×20. So if you're able to avoid taking damage for long enough, you're racking in just insane amounts of money. So it definitely puts more emphasis on
making it rain.
Making it rain, and dodging, staying alive, and of course the game assumes that if you've gone through the game once already, you should be familiar with the enemy type, so it should be harder to take you by surprise. Right. So, but it's a really fun system because I love playing through New Game Pluses of Ratchet and Clank because it's just you feel so strong the whole time. Right? And it's
that's usually the point.
Mm-hmm. It is. The whole point is to make you feel powerful and, like nothing can stand in your way, right? And I feel Ratchet & Clank does a very good job of that, so.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 of the pioneers of New Game Plus. And I'm just going to go through them quickly. The first is Super Mario Bros., which kind of gave the initial inkling of replaying the game. Because once you finish World 8 and you save Princess Peach and all, she sends you back to the first world so you can accept a new challenge. It's not necessarily a New Game Plus because you don't personally gain anything. However, the enemies are much harder. So instead of Koopas, you have the Buzzy Beetles, and instead of Goombas, you have... I really don't remember. But instead of Goombas, it would be the Fuzzy Beetles, and instead of Koopas, it would probably be like the Paracoopas or Paratroopas or whatever. No, I distinctly remember there being a lot more Fuzzy Beetles.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, but the game just gets more difficult, and that was kind of the first instance of a New Game Plus. But the first real one that most people attribute as the first game with New Game Plus is the original Legend of Zelda. Because once you finish the first quest, when you select your file, instead of just having Link, you'll have Link holding up a sword. If you select that file and start playing, the dungeons are rearranged, and the map is rearranged, and the enemies are more difficult. You retain your weapons and whatnot, but...
Do you?
I'm pretty sure you do.
Huh. I could have sworn you started fresh, but I've never beaten the original Legend of Zelda. I got close.
I beat it. I didn't play the second quest, though. I was just like, I don't want to die.
I get that.
But yeah, so those are like the first 2 pioneers of New Game Plus. Back then, though, I think it was mostly just a way to artificially increase the length of the game. It was a good way of doing it, but if you beat Mario Bros., if you got good at it, you beat it in 30 minutes. Well, if you have to play through it again, it becomes an hour, and you'd much rather play for an hour than 30 minutes. Make it feel like you got more money's worth.
Yeah, unless you're one of those guys that speedrun it in 5 minutes, but most
little
of us are human.
Little tidbit on Legend of Zelda: if you start the game and you put your name as Zelda, you'll start in the second quest. You don't have to beat it the first time.
Just in case you really want to get fucked sideways on your first go.
Yep. Oh, what's your next game?
The next game...
How's it use New Game Plus?
Game series I want to talk about is the Tales series. And I can't remember which game started it. I want to say Fantasia, the very first one. I want to say that it had the New Game Plus system, but I can't be sure. My first experience with it was with Tales of Symphonia, though. And the way a New Game Plus works is, of course, it's the same as always. You beat the game, and you get the option to do a New Game Plus. And when you start a New Game Plus, it opens up with this thing called a grade shop. And the first time that happened to me, I was like, the fuck is this? And I just had a random number, and I had no idea where it came from. So what the grade shop is throughout the game you'll earn grade, depending on how well you fight your battles, etc. So it is possible to grind grade if you have patience. But for the most part, what the grade shop is it gives you all these options. So let's say you have 1500 grade at the end of your first playthrough or whatever. Then if you start a second playthrough, you'll have a grade shop, and it's like if you want to transfer over your characters their titles, that costs 100 grade. If you want to transfer over their cooking skills, that's 50 grade. If you want to, so there are little things like that. But if you want some of the big rewards, like if you want all the characters to have 500 extra health at the beginning of the game, that costs 500, or no, that costs I think like 250 grade. And if you want them to have more MP for their skills, that costs 250 grade. And the two big mama jamas that are worth grinding for are, there's a double experience option, which costs I believe 1,000, and there's a times 10 experience option, which costs 3,000. So those are the ones you really want to grind for, because I mean, when you first play, yeah, right. So when you first play through Tales, you on average you'll end the game at about probably anywhere from between level 70 to level 80, somewhere in there. You may be like mid 80s depending on how much grinding you do, how many enemies you avoid that. But so you play through with double experience, you're probably going to end the game closer to like level 120, 130. If you play through with the 10 times experience, you're probably going to be like a level 160 by the time you fight the final boss. Like,
nice.
It's wonderful. So in Tales
Just walk
of Symphonia,
through bitches.
Yeah, exactly. So in Tales of Symphonia, the main draw to grind for are definitely the experience boosts, the health and MP boosts, and you can also purchase an option that allows you to get more grade for every battle in your playthrough, which is necessary in my opinion, because it's like when you first beat Tales of Symphonia, just as an example, the chances of you having enough grade to buy the 10 times experience are very small, unless you grinded monsters like a motherfucker. But if you play through the first time, do double experience, and make sure that you purchase to have extra grade in your next playthrough, you're probably going to be able to afford 10 times experience on your next playthrough. And granted, maybe I'm just weird and I just love that game so much that I'm perfectly okay with doing 3 separate playthroughs, but I mean, it definitely is a fun incentive, right?
What I like about a New Game Plus mechanic like that is if you were to beat the game once, like let's assume you're a kid, you spend $50, it's all your lunch money, you get the game, you play through it once. Well, if you leave it sit for like a year and then you come back to it and you just want to experience the story again or something, if you can do New Game Plus and get that 10 times experience boost and just walk through enemies, then you can experience that story a lot faster than you would have if you had to just restart from the beginning.
Absolutely. And that actually, that actually happened to me. With
Nice.
like no word of a lie. I had Tales of the Abyss on PS2, which is one of like the big 3 in Tales games, in my opinion. The big 3 are probably Symphonia, Abyss, and Vesperia. Those are like the 3. If anybody's played a Tales game, it's going to be one of those 3. So I played through Tales of the Abyss the first time. I loved it. I loved every second of it. It's such a good game. And I came back a couple of years later, and I was like, I'm gonna play through Tales of the Abyss again. I'll hit up the grade shop. I'll walk through bitches. This is gonna be great. So I boot the game up. I still have my memory card and all that good stuff because it was on PS2. And I loaded up and I had grade. I'm like, yeah, I can't afford times 10, but I'll do double. I'll have more grade from this playthrough, transfer over my skills and stuff like that. I'm going to have a blasty blast. And I get about an hour and a half in, and my game freezes. Because my shithead brother had left my disc out, and it had gotten scratched at Kingdom Come, and it wouldn't read past the first hour and a half of the game anymore.
Yeah, that was a sad day.
I was so sad. I was like, I was going to freaking go hard on this game, and I can't now. And it just left such a void in my heart.
And then it came out on the 3DS.
It did, and I played it
a decade later.
I played it. I bought it. I played it for a bit. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of other stuff going on at the time. Like I was working 50 hours a week and stuff and all that, so I didn't have as much time to play, unfortunately. But it was still really cool to go back to it on the 3DS, and I definitely want to, if I can find that game at a game
decent
store
price.
and it's not too expensive, I definitely want to buy it again and actually play through the entire game.
Yeah. I just have the case and manual. You let me keep that.
Yeah, because I remember I think Buddy bought a 3DS from me, and I gave him Tales of the Abyss with it because I hadn't played it. And he was like, I'll give you $20. And I was like, well, I mean, shit, it's more than I have right now, so why not? So.
Oh, I meant the PS2 case.
Mm.
Because you were going to throw it out, and I was like, nah, it'll look pretty on my shelf. And it does.
It's just a gruesome reminder every time. No.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. But, anyways, let's, so that's, in my opinion, that's probably one of the single greatest examples of New Game Plus, because it gives you something to work towards, right?
Yeah, and I've got two more examples, and I'll just get through those quickly. The first is Disgaea.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of calling it New Game Plus, they call it a new cycle. So what happens is you beat the game, and you can choose to restart from the beginning. You retain your characters, your levels, your assembly rank, and your equipment. So on the second playthrough, you can just walk through shit. And what people will often do is they will just keep resetting it until they reach a point where they're at like level 9,999. Which is just goddamn madness. Which I reset it once. And I started to do that because I just wanted to try and see what it would be like, because that's one of the, it's not necessarily a selling point, but people always talk about when they talk about Disgaea is just getting to ridiculous levels and then doing like 1 billion damage. And it was honestly fun to be able to go through the game quickly because I was strong as all hell.
Yeah.
But I still think those people are crazy to get to 9,999.
I mean, I won't stay on this for too long, but in most of the Disgaea games, once you get to a certain point, there is actually usually a certain level that you're able to farm. And I did that once on Disgaea 4.
Okay.
I just farmed. There was a certain level that if you went to the assembly and you voted to up the enemy levels to a certain point, there was a glitch in the game where a level 99 enemy gave the same amount of experience as an enemy at like level 500.
I love the glitch gremlin. He gives us good things.
He does most of the time. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
It was funny because our friend who we mentioned 2 podcasts ago in episode 2, our friend Mohawk Man, he had just started getting into Disgaea while I was playing through number 4, and he was playing through Disgaea 1. He was playing through the Nintendo DS port. Yeah. So he was having a lot of fun with it. So I texted him once and I was like, take a wild guess what level my characters are at. And he goes, 80s. I was like, they're at 110 right now. He goes, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, no, but I'll text you back in 5 minutes. And he's like, why? I was like, you'll see. So I grind this level for 5 minutes, right? And I text him back. And I was like, now guess what level they're at. And he's like, what? And I was like, 215. He goes, what the fuck did you do? So
boy.
sure enough, I text him back again. I was like, hang on, give me 10 more minutes. I text him back. He's like, oh God, what'd you do? I was like, oh, nothing. They're over 400 now, though, so don't worry about it.
I love how he was always ranting and raving about how great that was and stuff, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he loved that game. They're good games, though.
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress. I'll let you continue.
Oh, yeah, okay. The other example I want to get is just kind of a different way that New Game Plus can be used, because we've been talking about you restart the game and either the levels are different and harder, or your character retains his equipment, money, whatever else. In Record of Agrest War, if you beat that game and you have a save file, and then you play Record of Agrest War 0, which is a prequel, you have a New Game Plus where you can unlock maps, items, and characters from like the first game, which I think is pretty awesome. So like, it's a New Game Plus where you transition from one game to the next. And I think the same thing happens if you have Record of Agrest War 2.
I remember them doing something similar to that in Golden Sun as well, but it worked a little differently. And the way it worked is Golden Sun 1 and 2 have password systems where you can use to share game data and stuff. So you play through the first one, you beat the game, whatever, your characters are all at like level 50 with like, they're loaded out with like insane weapons, and you have all the and you have all the Jinn or whatever. So when you're playing through number 2, you get to a certain point where the 4 main characters from the first game will join your party. And now there are 2 ways this can happen. Either you just play through the game normally, they'll join you. There'll be, I think, level 40 or something at that point. They'll join with 4 Jinn each and just standard decent weaponry. Whereas if you start Golden Sun 2 and you have the password from the first game after beating it and you input it at the start of your game, when you get to that point in the game, those characters will join you at the level they were in the first game when you beat it, with all the equipment they had in the first game when you beat it, and with every Jinn that you had in the first game when you beat it.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
It's super cool because when you do that, if you had collected every single Jinn in the first game and you collect every single one in the second game and you mix the passwords, it gives you the grand total. I can't remember the number, but you'll literally have every single Jinn that's possible to have, which is the only way to unlock a couple of the post-game dungeons. You need every single Jinn. So if you don't beat the first game and get everything and then transfer the data into the second game, you can't access some of the post-game content, which I think is super cool.
No kidding. I mean, if you're super hardcore, you just get more.
And I mean, they're super fun games, so I mean...
Yeah. I think I remember I borrowed one for like a short while from you.
You very well may have. I can't remember, though.
Yeah, I probably played 2 seconds. I was like, nope, going back to Nicktoons.
Yeah.
No, Nicktoons was shit. It was probably The Incredibles.
Oh, The Incredibles was good stuff.
Yeah. So I think that wraps up our segment on Mechanics Workshop.
Yay! And our New Game Plus.
Yeah. So if anyone listening can think of any other New Game Plus modes or games that have New Game Plus, feel free to tweet them at us at games_podcast, or definitely comment on the YouTube video if you'd like. We always have to kind of look through our game collections beforehand just to kind of pick out games, so we definitely probably missed a lot.
Oh, absolutely. And
definitely, maybe, probably.
Definitely, maybe, probably, yes. But
boy.
But definitely, we're both huge game nerds. We love learning about new games and new stuff. So if there's anything you've played and loved and enjoyed and you think it's a hidden gem, or you think that it shows off a mechanic really well that you want us to talk about, let us know, and we'll definitely get around to it.
For sure.
For sure.
So we're going to go into our last segment, which is games we've been playing. And I think we'll just transition from that into our main topic, which is YookaLaylee and 3D platformers.
I love that game so much.
Yeah.
It's
It's time for games we've been playing. The segment where we give insight on what we've been playing. New or old, good or bad. Here is what we've been playing. Would you like me to go first?
Go for it.
I played Rainbow Islands.
Yay!
Yeah, just briefly, it was wonderful to reminisce about that game and just listen to the music.
Music's so good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Dual Links, obviously Pokemon Go, because I always do those, but I've also not necessarily been playing, but I've been watching my girlfriend do Persona 5, which I thoroughly enjoy.
Would she maybe lend that to me when she's done?
I wouldn't count on it.
Damn. Oh well, I'll ask her when the time comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
But
it's
no.
me, she might trust me because she knows you'd kick my ass if anything happened to it.
Yes. I think the biggest gem, though, was Yooka-Laylee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
So,
love that game.
you tell me what you've been playing, because I know you've been playing that.
Have I? But of course, same as Jukebox, always Destiny. Played a lot of that yesterday, actually, helping out some friends with the raids and stuff. But lots of Destiny. I'm incredibly excited for Destiny 2 in September. I'm very excited for the gameplay trailer in next month on May 18th. I'll definitely be talking about that in the podcast because I'll need to scream about it. I really will. I'm gonna be so excited.
I'm going to be back here quietly nodding my head.
Yes, yes, Kelryx, whatever you say, Kelryx.
But that's a thing.
So
Those
yeah.
are definitely things in that
Yeah.
thing.
So yeah, definitely Destiny. Some Dual Links here and there. I just gotta start playing it more. Like, I've fallen out of it just because I don't really have awesome cards in it. But I mean, at the same time, if I'm not playing the game and getting gems to buy packs, how the fuck am I gonna get better cards, right? So you just
Right.
I just kind of gotta power through the slow portion that's going on for me right now in my horrible pack luck.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I mentioned it, but I've only played it briefly, maybe 7 duels or so. For me, it's just I just stick on auto duel. Like, no one can beat me anymore. It's not that much fun. But
Yeah.
they did have some events, so I wanted to get some of the new cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was doing for a while. I'd literally I think I did that during our first podcast. I just had my phone off to the side and I just auto dueled.
Yep.
But but yeah, so hang on, I'm gonna boot that up real quick. No, I won't. But yeah, I just gotta play it and get through it and hopefully get some better cards. Like, my draw luck for the packs is just such trash.
You know what? My girlfriend opened 10 more packs yesterday. Another 2 ultra rares and a super rare that she didn't have.
Why? Why are the ones who love and frequently play the games, why are we the ones that get shafted?
No, she plays it pretty regularly.
Oh, well, fair enough. But
She's
it's
just
like,
ridiculously lucky because every time she opens 10 packs, she gets 2 ultra rares.
bitch. Anyways.
Hey, you
I'm
watch your
still-
mouth.
Yeah, I know. I do it all in fun. I
know.
jealous.
We all jealous.
Yeah. But
Now get to the good
and then,
bits.
Yeah. More Destiny. No.
God damn it.
But yeah, so the other day I was out shopping with my girlfriend and I look at her and I was like, "Did YookaLaylee come out?" And she looks at me and she goes, "What is that?" I'm like, "Damn it." So I'm like, "Nah, don't worry about it. Never mind. I thought it granted, but apparently not." So I just Google it super fast, and sure enough, it came out like a day or two before or whatever, and I was like, okay. I checked my bank account, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go buy it. I'm gonna do
no
it.
regrets. No looking
I'm gonna
back.
do it. I'm gonna call Jukebox. We're gonna have a blasty blast. But so we go. I buy it. I put it in, and my God, I loved it. I loved every second of it since I booted it up.
And I'm so
did
glad that you
Jukebox.
love it.
Yeah, me too.
Mostly because you don't necessarily play those kinds of games. or at least
No,
not
not
often.
usually. I'm open to pretty much any game there is, minus sports games. Like, fuck sports games. Pointless.
But the Mutant League football and hockey.
Okay,
Those
well, there are
are
exceptions. I like NBA Jam too, but I mean, like,
the
I mean,
arcadey
like,
ones.
yeah, like Madden fucking, or NBA The Show, or NHL 2K17 or whatever. I'm just like, why?
Ballers.
Why? You're dropping $80 to do the same thing literally over and over again. There is no variation ever. I mean, at least if I drop $80 on a freaking RPG or something, at least it's different every couple of hours.
And then there was that one thing back in, I think it was 08 to 09, where they literally just changed the names.
Yep.
It was the exact same game, different names.
Yep. But anyway, so I get YookaLaylee, and I've never actually, for anybody who doesn't know, YookaLaylee was a Kickstarter game by Playtonic Studios, I believe. And they were the same people who worked on and made Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. So
not just that, it's the people who also worked on things like Perfect Dark and Conquer's Bad Fur Day, and some of the people who worked on the newer ones. So, you know, kind of Cameo, Viva Pinata, Nuts and Bolts, those kinds of games too. But it's all these people from Rare.
Okay.
All these
I wasn't
wonderful
aware.
peoples. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, so it's done by the same people who made all of those games. And I mean, those games are all fucking amazing. So
Not that Nuts and Bolts withheld.
Nuts and Bolts withheld. That one's a little it's a little hit or miss. It's some people love it, some people hate it, you know, it
was okay for me. It looked pretty. It
does. It looks very pretty. So YookaLaylee plays exactly like Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, and that's why a lot of people are just considering it the sequel to Banjo-Tooie. They're considering it just being Banjo 3E with a different skin on it.
More or less.
It fucking is.
I mean, I super got that vibe. Like, if you took the characters and put on the skins of the characters they resemble from Banjo-Kazooie, it would be a new Banjo-Kazooie game.
It would, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So,
so pretty.
It's so pretty. And, movement is insanely fluid. It's, like, if you miss a jump or you mess up on a boss fight or something like that, like, you know it's your fault. Except that first boss fight. That first boss fight's a little wonky. There are a couple of parts in there I wasn't too pleased about, but I mean...
Most people were complaining about just the first boss, though. The other ones are pretty damn good.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm going to play it a bunch later today and tomorrow and all that. I'm going to try and beat it in the next couple of days here. But yeah, the first boss fight's a little wonky. Because the whole thing is you got to dodge rolling logs to get up to him and hit him. And if you get to the top of the ramp and a log hits you, you'll slide down the ramp on your butt. And you can't jump, you can't do anything. If one of the other logs in front of you, if you hit that on your way down, it damages you again. So you get hit once.
Pain in the ass, literally.
Yeah, it was terrible. It took me, I think, like 4 tries to beat that boss because I kept getting cheaped out of my last couple of health points because of that bullshit. But, I mean, it's a minor
like the
thing.
only low point.
Yeah, that was the only point where Jukebox and I were playing through this game together, and we're just like, really? Like, are we being serious?
Can I just want to like hire the guys from Crystal Glass, like the auto place? Just send them to him.
Yeah, send it back once he's dead. But so that was the only low point, and it's like you start out the game, and the only thing you can do is jump. So I mean, the first level by itself was it took me a few minutes to figure out where I was going, because again, I don't play these games.
Map.
Yeah, so I don't play these games very often. So like Jukebox kind of, he was like, oh, but you probably got to find somebody who'll give you a skill to do something. I'm like, all right, well, where the fuck do I go, right? So after some running around, explore. But so after a little running around, I find the guy, talk to him, I get my first ability, which is just a tail swipe. It's just a general attack. And then I go around and breaking treasure chests and stuff, collecting some collectathon materials, move on to the next level. And then I realize really quickly, I'm like, what are all these flowers that are around? And they have like these little crystal grapes on them. And Jukebox is like, I'm gonna imagine it's similar to Banjo-Kazooie, where you had the eggs and you could shoot the eggs. I was like, okay, but then why the fuck can't I do it?
Yeah, because I was just like, use your tongue. Obviously, you got to eat these things.
Yeah, and then I try using my tongue, and it,
Just bounces
nothing
off.
nothing happens. So I'm like, well, what the fuck? So then I get a rolling move that I can use to go up ramps and stuff. It lets me stick to slicker, steeped surfaces so I can get around. It also just a boost to movement speed. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just go exploring. So I'm running around collecting more materials, and I find the trouser snake.
I fucking love him. His name is Trouser with a Z, and he's a snake. But
And he wears pants.
Ba-dum-ts.
Jesus, I can't believe you just made that joke.
Oh, come on, dude. It's like Banjo-Kazooie. It's nothing but puns everywhere.
It is. I love it. I love it so much. But
It's just, they gotta have one about a giant dick.
Absolutely. So we find the trouser snake, and he's your main abilities tutor kind of thing, right? So as you collect
He's like
some of the
Bottles.
collectibles, yeah, he's like Bottles from Banjo-Kazooie. He's the one that'll teach you the new attacks and the new moves and stuff, right? So same as Bottles, as you're running around
Mumbo.
collecting Mumbo or whatever, right?
I don't remember which it was.
I think it was Bottles. Mumbo was the one that, he was the skeleton that you could like transform into, and he could do magic in certain stages and stuff.
Right.
But
It's been a while
so
since I played.
I've literally damn near never played. I've like touched them barely with my cock. No, but
With your
jokes
trouser snake.
with my trouser snake. But so it's similar as you run around, you get collectibles, and in Yooka-Laylee there are two collectibles. There's quills, which are your like standard. I see some over there. There must be something at the end of them. I'm gonna follow them, right?
Yeah.
And there are pages. And pages are these little golden sheets of paper that you have to collect to progress into new worlds and stuff. So as you're collecting more and more quills, that's what Trouser the Snake wants as currency to teach you new moves. So I collect a bunch and I go talk to him, and sure enough, he's got 3 different attacks right at the beginning for you. He's got a ground pound, he's got what's called the slurp shot, and he had one more that I genuinely can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
But
I remember really wanting there to be a hover.
and I did get the hover later.
Yeah, it was later though.
But so I'm like, okay, now this makes sense. So I buy the ground pound, I buy the slurp shot, and I buy whatever the third one was. Again, I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. But and then sure enough, the slurp shot allows me to eat those gems on the flowers, and they give me elemental ammo. And so far I've found fire, water, and ice. I don't know if there's other ones. I hope there is.
Just eat the lightning.
Yeah.
Feel the power. Be like the Duracell bunny. Just
Yes.
keep going.
Could you imagine you find a lightning fruit and there's just a bunny with a drum, and you're just like, whoa.
I could dig. I mean, it has Shovel Knight in there. Might as well have the Duracell bunny too.
Fuck it, why not?
God, I love that Shovel Knight's in there.
Yeah,
And all his 3D glory.
I'll talk about him in just a second. So you get the elemental ammo, and of course, when you have fire, you can breathe fire. When you have water, you can spit water. And when you have ice, you can shoot ice pellets. And of course, they're required to get through certain puzzles. Sometimes you need to light some candles on fire to open a door. Sometimes you need to spray water on a fire so you can jump over it or whatever, right? Or you need to use the ice pellets to hit distant bullets and pellets and distant buttons and switches and stuff so you can proceed, right?
Right.
So, and but yeah, so that made sense. So I was immediately like, okay, now I can do stuff. So then I go and I'm like climbing up towers that I needed to use the ice pellets to hit buttons so that I could stop the rotation of platforms so that I could jump on them. And then later on I found one where I was able to, I had to breathe fire on these switches to spell the word pagey to open a cage so I could collect the Pagey. And then again, the water one is you spit water, you put out fires, and then you can jump over them. Like there is a Pagey hidden in a fireplace. I put out the fire, I can jump into the fireplace and grab the Pagey.
That whole kind of initial start of the game, because that does well to teach you how to use those elemental things and stuff, but like it's so intuitive that it almost felt backwards to have you buy them from the snake. Because at the start of the game, it was like, okay, I know how to do all these, especially like since we've at least I've played like Banjo-Kazooie games. Like it's, the moves you're going to have, how to do them. You see objects and places in the overworld where it's like, I should be able to use these here, but you can't do it until you buy them from the trouser snake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit of a bummer, but
I'll talk about one more little power up that I got that Jukebox doesn't know about because I got it after he left that day.
Oh boy.
And do you remember that part where there was all the wind blowing and there were like cannonballs, and I was like, well, I must have to shoot the cannonballs to break the fans or whatever, and we just couldn't figure out why.
Like the box of cannonballs?
Yes.
Yeah.
In level 2, one of the powers that you can buy from the trouser snake is called the Slurp. What's it called?
Is it Slurp Cannon?
No, it's Slurp something. And what it does is it allows Yooka, the chameleon, for anybody wondering, Yooka is the chameleon, Laylee is the bat.
Yes.
Just like how Banjo was the bear and Kazooie was the bird. It's the exact same setup. So,
and Tooie is his cousin.
Yeah.
Not actually.
No.
It's still Kazooie.
Tootie is his sister. Isn't it? Yeah, it's Tootie.
I don't know.
Something
That's
like
weird.
that. Right? But
it's Tootsie Roll.
Yes.
Tootsie.
She's delicious. But
gross.
But
like a bird sexual.
Gross.
Don't get the avian flu.
No. But so in level 2 I get this ability called the Slurp something or other. I'll look it up later and I'll text it to you or whatever, just because it's gonna grate on my nerves now. But what it does is,
tell me it's a pun.
It's probably a pun. But it allows Yooka to take on the properties of whatever he eats.
Oh.
So you eat the cannonball and then you become heavy like a cannonball. So the air can't blow you around. So I was immediately like, that's super cool. And then I
would have never guessed that. I just assumed you had to like blow up the one cannon in the overworld and then you'd be able to use the cannonballs to shoot things.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, whatever. It's just a different form of ammunition. I must just need a different power up before I can use that form of ammunition. So I got that ability and I was like, that's such a cool way to do it. Because of course, what's the first instinct? You see cannonballs. What do cannonballs do? They fire out of a cannon. They're projectile ammunition. So immediately our heads are wrapped around, we must have to shoot them somehow. So like, I was super surprised, and it went a step further is I found some fire, like I found a pot of coals, like fiery coals. And the second level is an ice level.
Ooh.
And I get to this area where it's cold and I'm losing health. And I'm just
Breath of the Wild.
It is. It's like Breath of the Wild, right? So immediately, my first instinct is, there's a fire over there. I must have to get warm. So I run over there. This is before I got the power up. I run over there and I stand by the fire, and sure enough, I'm not losing health. I'm like, all right, so I must just have to like haul ass through this area until there's another fire or whatever. So I start going, and I get to this pot that's not on fire. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, all right, might as well try to make a run for it. So I go, and sure enough, I die because my characters are freezing to death. So I'm just like, what the hell? So later on, I get this power, and I'm like, I wonder, and I hit circle because you eat whatever you're trying to eat the same way as you eat the fruits to use them as projectiles. And he swallows part of the fire. And he becomes all red and glowy and stuff. And I'm like, no fucking way.
He's just burning up from the inside.
Yeah, so
Don't
I
let it
start
fool you.
running.
He's in pain.
Yes, he is. He's dying. I'm a horrible, horrible god. So I'm running and I'm not freezing to death anymore. And I get to the next part and I'm like, well, fuck, like, what do I do? And I try hitting square to see if I can blow fire. I can't. So I'm like, shit. I'm like, this is going to be a long shot, but I jump on the coals. They start on fire.
Nice.
I'm like, fuck,
I am
yes.
the Human Torch.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm like, fuck, that's cool. So sure enough, I continue through that area and I'm lighting all the pots of coals on fire so I can reload, because of course it's a timed thing.
Right.
So I reload my fire and I keep going. I light all the pots, and once I've lit them all, it opens a door and there's a pagey behind it. I'm just like, that was fun.
That sounds
That
fun.
was like, it was super entertaining. And then I get to this next part, and there are these icy slopes.
Right.
And I'm just like, shit. I'm like, all right, well, I'll try rolling up them, because I mean, that's what my rolling thing is for. It's supposed to let me go up like ramps and stuff.
Yeah.
So I try, and sure as shit, what happens? I slip off because it's ice. So I'm like,
Tell me what you needed to eat.
fuck. There was a beehive hanging on a tree nearby.
Oh god.
So I ate the honey, and it made me
good.
sticky.
I thought you were gonna say I ate the bees.
And it let me fly.
God, Jesus, not the bees.
Yeah. No, Yooka's mouth was a little fucked up. He had a little allergic reaction, but yeah, I ate the bees. No, I ate the honey. I ate the honey out of the beehive, and it made me sticky like honey, which allowed me to both. I could either walk up the ramp or roll up the ramp, and of course I rolled because it's faster. But I just needed that extra stickiness to be able to get up the ramp. And again, like I get all the way up there, and I'm just like, that was wonderful.
So
like, it was just
with this ability, if Yooka was to eat Laylee, would he become Ozzy Osbourne?
probably.
That's how this works, right?
It would actually turn me into Thomas the Train Engine on cocaine, is what it would do.
Also Ozzy Osbourne. Got it.
He's the conductor.
There's no brakes on this train.
All aboard the train. No. But,
Get on the crazy train.
Yeah. But shameless plug here. Aussie sponsor us. No.
God,
But
no. That's not how that works.
No, unfortunately. But could you imagine you just get an email from Ozzy Osbourne? I love your podcast, boys. Here's some money. Yay! So, but yeah, and again, I just like it. It was just so cool because I was like, "Fuck, that's interesting and that's fun."
I can dig it.
Right? So,
You keep talking about YookaLaylee, and like, I was there with you for like the first level of the game and stuff, but like, I can't afford it right now, and so it's giving me this real big craving to like go play Banjo-Tooie, because that's the one I do own.
do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really weird whenever I want to actually play something on the N64, because like nothing aged well. So
That's like
N64 is like my least favorite thing to go back and play.
Yeah, that's like me. It's like I want to play. There's a couple of like older like PS2 games and stuff I want to play, and I'm just like, but when you compare it to like a PS4, it's just nothing plays as well.
Yeah.
And nothing controls as well, because it's just,
I mean,
over time, what do they refine first? They refine the controls first. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't have a problem going back to like PS2. It's just the N64 was uncanny valley, and it was like the introduction of 3D gameplay, so everything was new and people didn't quite know how to do it. So
exactly.
like, even going back to Mario 64, turning and stuff doesn't feel as good as even the game before it, like on the Super NES. Like that one was even more intuitive than on the N64.
Yeah, that's just the unfortunate. It's the unfortunate thing. It's like,
Not that they're all bad or anything, but like,
oh God, no. But I mean, it's just one of those unfortunate things. It's like, you look at like, I don't want to bring this up, but I'm gonna. But it's like,
oh God.
you look at what Mega Man Legends 3 could have been, and how well it could have controlled, and how it could have been so smooth because you could have just used the L and R buttons as an easy way to move your camera, and it could have played a lot better because Mega Man Legends 1 was really choppy.
Right.
It was really hard to control nicely because it's like I think L and R rotated your camera and the D-pad moved Mega Man. I don't think you used the control stick at all. I could be wrong though. It's been a long time since I've played it or seen someone play it. But they're very tricky controls. So right. I mean, I can't imagine how well Mega Man Legends 3 could have potentially played had Crapcom not been like, lol, fuck you.
Bastards.
But yeah, I'm
fucking
mad.
Crapcom.
Fun story. Jukebox came with me on a family reunion. Yeah, it was like a family reunion for my family, and he taught me how to play crib, and I learned in the most heartbreaking way that 19 in crib is equivalent to 0. You bastard!
You have 19. Where do you see this?
Then my mom peeks over and she's like, "Sweetheart, 19 means you have nothing," and I'm like, "You're a fucking asshole," you know. That's just like, but so we go, and the first night we were there, we literally didn't sleep because we just shit talked Capcom the whole damn night.
Yeah, like I made him listen to an entire All Gen Gamers podcast where they had Rob Man on, good friend of one of the hosts at the time, and Mega Man's his most favorited game in like the whole world. Like he has the entire series, like he has Japanese versions, he has arcade machines, all that sort of stuff. And he was like heartbroken that Mega Man Legends 3 wasn't a thing. He was part of the movement of 100,000 strong for Mega Man Legends and stuff like that. And I made him listen to that whole podcast, and we just sat there like, man, fuck Capcom. Yeah, fuck Capcom. Fucking
like literally
Capcom.
For just like 8 hours. It was just fuck Capcom back and forth.
Yeah.
But
I remember at like 4 a.m, I'm just like sitting there because I was kind of on the floor on a little mattress thing or something, and he was on the bed, and I had my arm under the bed, and I'm like, hey dude, and you're like, yeah, and I'm like, I feel something crawling on me, and you're like, kill it, kill it, kill it. I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, all of a sudden Jukebox is like, never mind, it's gone, and immediately I'm just like, fuck my life.
Paranoid forever.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's just a fun little story about Capcom. But yeah, I definitely think you should play Banjo-Tooie again, or again / play it. And
yeah.
I mean,
you can hear me rant about it on the next games we've been playing.
Yay! But I'm definitely down to lend you YookaLaylee because your girlfriend has a PS4, right?
No.
How is she playing Persona 5 then? It's
the last game that EB Games has for PS3 on their database. It's the last PS3 release, unless something really obscure comes out later.
Okay, makes sense then.
That was actually a point for why we got it on PS3. Also, for anyone else who's a collector, if a game comes out on 2 consoles where it's on the past generation and the new generation, it's almost always more collectible on the past generation because they sell less on that platform. So like Twilight Princess on the GameCube versus the Wii, it's worth a lot more on the GameCube. I'm assuming Breath of the Wild will kind of be the same way, so I have it on the Wii U.
Yep.
And Persona 5 most definitely will be, because even for like limited editions and stuff, like they only had limited edition stuff for PS4. So there's a lot more incentive to get on PS4, especially since, you know, it's been out for like 3 years now.
Well, I mean, Breath of the Wild is... You told me it sold 370,000 copies on the Wii U?
Yeah, and like 1.1 million on the Switch.
Yeah.
A near 100% attach rate, which is almost unheard of.
Exactly. So, I mean, that just goes to show that within the next probably... I'd say within probably 5 years... our Wii U versions of Breath of the Wild are probably going to be worth what they were when we paid for them.
Yeah.
Like, guaranteed. You're going to start seeing them in, like, the Wii U versions at least. You're definitely going to start seeing them in, like, game stores, and they're probably going to be, the price is going to be jacked up.
Yeah. It's usually not a significant difference, but maybe $10 to at most $20 difference between the versions.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. If you're a collector, fucking start buying Wii U stuff. It's getting cleared out. And it's going to be rare because you know how much they sold on that stuff.
I should probably go get Bayonetta 2 on Wii U one of these days.
Yeah. I've been watching for it. I mean, I watch for everything, but
I definitely want it. But yeah, real quick, because I promised I'd mention this, is Shovel Knight makes an appearance in YookaLaylee, and apparently he makes a few appearances. Apparently I think he pops up in every level.
I love that. He looks like his amiibo looks.
Yes, he looks exactly like his amiibo looks. He's super bulky, and he's funny too. The puns, he's like, because the first time we found him, we were like, oh my god, like fucking Shovel Knight, and we were super hyped because and what does he say? He's like, oh, there's a giant ass gem at the top of this tower, but I can't get up there because I'm not used to this 3D. I'm not used to this third dimension. And I'm just like, it's funny because you're 2D, but it was just it was super funny. Jukebox and I had a really good laugh about that, and
had a little squeal.
Yeah, had a little squee moment. And, I'm definitely excited to see him in the other levels. Like it's
you got to tell me the other puns because I'm sure he'll make more.
Oh, I absolutely will. I felt so bad. I can't remember it, but Laylee made a really wicked pun, and I clicked away from it before I could like take a picture of it and tell you. I was like, no, because it was just.
It makes so many though.
Yeah, it was good though. Like I laughed out loud. It was freaking hysterical. But
you know what,
just
dude? Just go back a little bit when you were talking about Mega Man Legends. You kind of reminded me because I forgot. I have Mega Man Legends 2.
Nice.
So, collectors, once more, if you want to kind of like jizz in your pants or something, just listen to this. I found it amongst CDs at a secondhand store for $2.15.
I fucking hate you.
Yeah, it's worth well over $100 now.
Well, I mean, you have Sonic Adventure, the limited edition on your Dreamcast too.
Yeah, like the
you
one.
got that for fucking $5.
Yeah, the one that was included in the kiosks that played Sonic, not the one that Hollywood Video had before the actual release, but the ones that were in the kiosks.
I remember you pooped your pants when you found that day.
Yeah, I mean, because I learned about it, and then I technically was looking for it, but I was mostly just looking at random Dreamcast games at a game store that's way overpriced. And this one, it didn't have the back of the case, and the front manual had the front page ripped off. Which, if you ever get the Sonic Limited Edition, generally they're either missing the manual or the back. I mean, it's just a thing that happens with them.
Mm-hmm.
If you get the version where you can't save, that was the ones in the kiosk. If you get the one where you can save, those are the ones that were rented out by Hollywood Video before. I can't remember if it was before the Dreamcast had an actual release or if it was before Sonic had an actual release.
Yep.
Yeah, little tidbit there.
Yeah, no kidding. I love my super rare game, but we'll talk about that one day.
Yeah, we'll just talk about rare games on a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. But damn, what was I about to say? I had something in my head now.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's good.
Puns?
I was gonna say, just on the quick topic of like games you shit your pants over. Were you with us when I found that One Piece game? Because that was a dark moment in my life as a collector.
I think so.
What happened?
That was at the same place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was same day, but it was same place.
Same place.
Where Jukebox and I live in a city just a little north of us, there are two game shops that we used to go to. We don't go to the one very often because their prices were really outrageous.
They've since gotten quite a bit better, but we still don't go to it. It's kind of out of the way.
We should definitely hit it up one of these days, though. Just peek in and see what's up. But so anyways, we would go there and we would go to the other place. So we went to the first place, the one that we don't frequent anymore. and I found a game that I'd had a lot of hype for years and years, and it's a One Piece game. One Piece is my favorite anime of all time. And it's a game called One Piece Unlimited Adventure. And I'd seen YouTube videos, I'd seen this and that, and I'd always wanted it, and I could never find it because it's such a rare game. At least here in America. It's just really hard to find. So
Right.
I found it, and it was $40, and I was like, I have no money. And our one friend was there, and he had a job. Unfortunately, I didn't at the time. And I look at him, I'm like, dude, like, you need to do me the biggest favor in the world. And he's like, what's up? And I was like, I have wanted this game for the last, like, 4 years, and I can't find it. It's impossible to find. Please buy this game for me. Hang on to it. Keep it in your possession. I will get the money somehow, and I will buy this game back from you. And I think it took me about 15 minutes to convince him of me just begging and pleading and being a fucking idiot about it.
Yeah.
But eventually he was like, all right, bro, don't worry about it. I got you. I'll do you a solid. And I was like, I love you so much. And it was both a very, very wonderful moment for me, because it was a game that I'd wanted for so long that I finally had.
It's a good
and
feeling.
It was also, and it was also a very dark moment for me, because I had to beg and plead my friend to buy me a game that he had no business buying me.
Right.
But
not
the first time he's done that for me, by the way. But I mean,
I'm almost in the same boat with Beautiful Katamari. Because that's, like, the only reason I even go into EB Games anymore is pretty much just to look through the 7th gen stuff to see if there's anything that kind of snuck in, which, I mean, generally it never does. And
but you never know.
I've been looking for Beautiful Katamari for several years, and I finally found it for $30. I was just like, I can't fucking afford that right now. I don't want to spend $30 on a game.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll still get it eventually. I get everything eventually.
One day.
When
was this?
Like 2 weeks ago. Maybe 3.
Dude, you should have just called me.
No, I told you, like, later when we were hanging out that I found it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you should have called me. I would have bought it for you. You could have paid me back over time, or it could have been collateral towards the amiibo you just bought me or something,
Nah. I mean, I could buy it if I really wanted to, but I got better things for my money right now.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But,
like I said, I'll find it eventually. I find everything eventually. We can talk about this in a different podcast. I got tons of collecting stories. It's been a decade. You got some.
I got a couple here and there, but that's about it.
Yeah. So fucking YookaLaylee.
Just buy it.
Yeah, go buy it. It's wonderful.
Do it right now.
Pay zero attention to the shitty reviews. Fuck them.
Yeah, no. People are just salty because people have to be salty about something.
Yeah.
People were reviewing Breath of the Wild 10 out of 10, 100% amazing game when it has plenty of little flaws here and there.
Which we definitely talked about in the last episode.
Yeah, I was about to say, we
wink,
just
wink,
talked about that in the
listen.
last. Yeah, wink, wink, shameless plug, not really, but yeah, definitely we talked about, the reasoning behind why I thought particularly that I thought there was a little merit towards the people who were saying, oh, well, they were paid to say that it's just the best game of all time. And I'm not going to get into that. All that info is in our last podcast. It's a similar concept, right? It's like people are going to shit down a game's neck. And of course, if you aren't sure about a game, definitely watch some reviews, read some reviews, but don't just watch a single one. Don't just read a single one. If one says, oh, this game's total shit, go watch. If one says it's total shit and 2 or 3 others say it's wonderful and amazing and you should buy it, which one are you going to listen to?
Yeah.
Majority rules, right? Granted, YookaLaylee is very high rated. If you just Google YookaLaylee, the first thing you see is fucking 9 out of 10, 92%, like whatever. Like it's very high rated. But there are people who are shitting on it and they're like, oh, it's a copy of Banjo-Tooie, and it's like, no fucking shit. That's what it's supposed to be, you dumb bastards. Like,
well, the biggest thing I saw from the reviews where they were really putting things down wasn't necessarily that it's like pretty much a reskin of a Banjo-Kazooie type game, is that on consoles you had extreme frame rate issues at points, and the controls, they couldn't stand the camera and stuff. And for that, the camera, you are slightly zoomed in on the character, but it's nothing you don't get used to after like 10 minutes of play. So they can go fuck themselves because they only probably played it for 10 minutes. And as far as the frame rate issues and stuff is, there was bugs at the time in the review copies that they fixed. And if you're like actually worried about that stuff, get it on the PC, because then you won't have any issues anyways.
I haven't experienced a single frame rate drop.
Yeah, and you're playing it on PS4.
And I'm playing it on PS4. I haven't experienced a single frame drop. I mean, granted, I've only played through the first level, so I mean, I might run into some issues in later levels, but I don't know yet. But at least for now, I haven't run into any frame rate issues. I haven't run into any bullshit bugginess.
Yeah.
Like I haven't clipped through a wall, and I haven't, whatever. But I mean,
at the bottom of the world.
Yeah, the worst thing that happened was, I think I made a jump and my camera was positioned in not the best way, and I could see through a mountain briefly. Like, whoop-de-fucking-do. It's,
it's so minor. It's so minor.
They can't, it's just that.
Wonderful.
They can't, yes, it's fucking amazing. It's like, and people who shit on it for like minor texture glitches and stuff like that, like, I'm sorry, I freaking dare you to go and get a job as one of the level designers somewhere and scour every last pixel of a game and make sure there's zero texture glitches, because I guarantee you can't do it. There's no way you're pulling that off.
There's never a game with no bugs.
Exactly. It's impossible. I mean, shit, I don't mean to shit on it. Again, we talked about all this in the last podcast, but I mean, Zelda has frame rate issues. The 10 out of 10 fucking game has nothing but frame rate issues. I didn't even have to be fighting fucking enemies or anything. I'd be paragliding through the air and I'd start lagging.
Yeah.
And people are rating that 10 out of fucking 10, and yet they're shitting down YookaLaylee.
Every
for like
time you got to a stable, frame rate issues. Every time.
Yep. Every time you jump off a mountain, frame rate issues. Every time you fight more than 2 enemies, frame rate issues.
And we still fucking love that game.
And it's fucking amazing.
It is.
But it's just that. It's like people are like, oh my god, it's perfect, it's amazing, it's the best game fucking ever. But YookaLaylee has frame rate issues. And I'm just like, do you fucking hear yourselves? Like, whatever you're smoking should be outlawed. Because it's clearly killing your brain. But I mean,
YookaLaylee was made in Unity, which kind of surprised me, but maybe not as much, because as smaller developers who had to kickstart, Unity is a cheaper option most of the time if you get one of the past ones, because you can get Unity, like past versions of it for free and whatnot. But I'm anticipating that on the Switch will be one of the smoothest running experiences for YookaLaylee, because they run on NVIDIA technology and hardware, and
NVIDIA,
and it's optimized for those kinds of game engines.
Yeah, I definitely think.
I think it'll be nice and smooth.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you want YookaLaylee, and you should want YookaLaylee, if you have a Switch, honestly, wait for it.
Yeah, definitely.
I would definitely recommend play it on the Switch or get it on PC. If you don't have either, definitely get it on PS4, or I believe it's on Xbox One. It's literally on everything. Yeah. It's on everything except the handhelds, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and the past generation.
It's like, get this game. I don't care how you do it, but get it. Get it, play it, love it.
Yeah, it's so fucking wonderful.
And then comment down below and tell me how right I am about how good this game is.
Oh god.
But
I think as soon as we're done recording, I'm gonna go watch some gameplay.
I think I'm gonna play it.
I just got that hankering.
Yeah, but no, YookaLaylee is wonderful. I'm beyond happy I picked it up. Also, fun fact, it's cheaper than normal games.
Yeah, it's not a AAA game, so it's not AAA priced. It's not like $80 Canadian.
Yeah. Like all of our other games. I got it for $50 Canadian, which is a
it's probably a $30 US game.
probably, or 40 at the very least. I mean,
or at the very most, you mean?
Yeah, it's definitely worth its price too. Because when me and Jukebox first started playing it, he was like, "How much was this game?" I was like, $50. And he goes, "Still, he was unsure about the price."
It sounded high to me because I wasn't sure how complete the game was, as like how much levels there was to it. And when he told me that there's like, I was just like, "Oh shit, that's definitely fucking worth $50." Because those are very full worlds, and I really, really love that you can expand them.
Yeah, so again, I'll touch on that real quick, because there's 5 worlds, but if you consider the expansions, in my opinion, there's 10. Because you get to the first world, you go into the book, you can run around, there's plenty to do, and then if you exit the book / level, whatever, you go into books to access the other worlds, a la fucking Mario 64 and jumping into paintings kind of style.
Yeah.
But so you exit, and the first thing that they tell you is, if you want, you can make the book / the world bigger. And sure enough, I was like, "Huh, that's weird." So I go back in, and I ran up this one area, and it just cut off. Like, it was just a ramp to nothing. And I was like, "Huh." So I go and I expand the world. I come back, and sure enough, that ramp leads to this giant tower that's full of other shit to do. And I'm like, "Oh fuck, all right then."
Yeah. You almost like double the size once it's like fully expanded.
I'd actually say I think you do a little more than that. I think when they start out, you have about a third of the entire level, and then you get the other 2/3 after you expand it.
I can dig it.
And of course, you don't have to expand them if you don't want to. If you wanted, you could go and you could bang out all 5 levels and go straight to the final boss, I assume. But if you want more to do and you want to have more fun, then definitely expand the worlds.
Oh god, yeah.
It just gives you more to do. It gives you more time to play around with your new powers and your new abilities and stuff.
I bet you have to expand it in order to get enough items to actually go to the final boss.
Probably. I would assume maybe if you didn't expand any of them and you collected everything in every stage, then maybe you could probably get away with it, but
actually,
for the most part...
That was something I wanted to ask you. How do you feel about collectathons? Because that was something that pretty much only existed on the N64 and then kind of died after that, because Rare was the only one making quality collectathon games.
For me, it would definitely depend. Like something like YookaLaylee, where you have to constantly use new powers and use them in interesting ways and stuff to get the collectibles, definitely a lot of fun for me. Yeah. Like I got to one area where I was on one platform and there were 4 other platforms, and there was cannonballs and one of each fruit. No, sorry, there were cannonballs, the fire fruit, and the water fruit. So and there were 4 platforms surrounding me. So what happened is, on the one platform, a block of ice fell, so I had to use the fire fruit to melt it to go through the hoop, and I had to keep going through hoops to unlock to get the pagey for that little mini game.
Right.
So it's like, on one platform there's a big gust of wind, so I'd have to eat a cannonball so that I wouldn't get blown away. And then on the other side, I had to use fire to melt the block of ice to get through the hoop, and on the other side I had to use the water to put out a fire so I could jump over it and get to the pagey. And then on the final side, I had to ground pound and destroy a box to get through the hoop. So I'm constantly, every time it was like, you'd start in the middle, grab a power, jump through the hoop, jump back to the middle, grab a different power, jump through the hoop, grab a different power, jump through the hoop, and you had to constantly keep jumping back. It took me like 5 tries.
It sounds like all the platforms, you lost me.
Yeah, because all of the platforms are made out of fucking ice.
Right.
So you're sliding around at the same damn time. So it was
goddamn
fucking hard. Yeah, but my god, did it feel good after I beat it. I was like, fuck yes.
Nice.
Nice. But so yeah, collectathons similar to YookaLaylee. I'm enjoying a lot right now. I haven't played many collectathons, unfortunately, so I can't like give like a hardcore opinion overall. Yeah. But I mean, if they do YookaLaylee 2 or Yookatoolie or something,
sure shit getting it.
Cthulhu. No, but yeah, no, if they do a YookaLaylee 2 or whatever, I'm buying it day one, like hands down.
So
because it's they're wonderful.
I agree. I like collectathon type games. So I really like Banjo-Tooie. I really like Conker's Bad Fur Day because I have those two. I imagine I'd probably like Donkey Kong 64 if I had it. But with YookaLaylee, it's kind of the first collectathon game in a really long time where I actually like it because it's not a piece of shit third like shovelware title or anything.
Yeah.
What I really like about like these kind of collectathons is I can be a completionist, but almost only when there is like a number of things that you have to get. So like a number out of a number, a percentage of something, if you can get 100% of that. Because in a lot of games where I've done like 100% runs and stuff, it's usually like, oh, I can max out this stat, or I can buy 99 of every item or whatever, and that's okay if I'm super into the game. But like if I get a game and it's like there are 50 of these in this world, you get all 50, you have 100%, that feels really fucking good. Feels very rewarding.
It's addicting because it's like, let's say you're running around having fun and then you leave and you're like, damn, I only need 4 more to have 100. Like back in you're going.
Yeah, and they know this. Like it's the human condition to want to have complete sets. So that's why these games worked so fucking well back on the N64.
Yeah, I definitely hope that YookaLaylee revives the genre.
Yeah.
Because I definitely play more as long as they play as well as YookaLaylee does.
Oh, definitely. You know, the people who worked on this game, like especially the music, because Grant Kirkhope, he was the one who did like the Banjo-Kazooie games and stuff, and he's just fucking excellent. Like you hear the music and you know it's his. And then what's his name? Pierce? God, I can't remember, but he did Donkey Kong Country. He did all the minecarting levels and stuff, the music for that, and he did some minecarting stuff in this game too. And like you can tell it's him, and it's just really great music. And it just came back, like all of it. It's just like nostalgia hit.
Gavin Price.
Right. Yes.
Gavin Price.
Yeah, he did music in Donkey Kong Country. They also have the guy who did a lot of stuff for Cameo, Viva Pinata, and whatnot, the newer Rare games that were with Microsoft. And like Viva Pinata is pretty fucking great. I mean, I'd call that a hidden gem, but it sold millions of copies. It's just really, really good.
I've heard it's a fun time. Good time waster / chill the fuck out kind of game.
Yeah. I mean, on the other podcast I'm on, Podcast TBD, Scufflewick, he 100%ed that game.
Which one, sorry?
Scufflewick. Viva Pinata.
Which game again, sorry? Oh, Viva Pinata, Jesus.
Yeah, which was pretty significant. There's a lot to do in that game.
I bet.
Yeah.
Tell me. I think is that about it, or is there something else?
Yeah, I was about to say, tell me, Kelryx, anything else you want to say about YookaLaylee? Any more nerdgasming to be had?
I love it. Buy it.
Definitely.
I love it. Buy it.
So I think that wraps up this podcast.
I think so.
I'm Jukeboxhero.
I'm KelryxsKing.
Thank you for listening.
See you guys next time.
So, if you've listened this far, thank you. We are going to be on iTunes.
Yay!
As of this episode, we should be on iTunes. So, it would be much appreciated if you subscribed to us and left a review. If you leave a review on our iTunes, we'll be sure to read it off during the show.
Absolutely. Shoutouts for everybody.
Yeah. So, thanks once again.
Thank you very much. Talk to you guys later.